Did you get your tooth knocked out? Don't panic. Here's what you need to do. My name is Dr. John Aiken, and I'm a dentist at Inverness Smiles. I'm going to go through a few steps that you can do to try to save that tooth. Number one, find the tooth, make sure it belongs to you. You may be at a tooth knocking out party. It's okay, I don't judge. Make sure it's yours and go ahead and get it. When you go to pick up your tooth, if it's outside your mouth, you want to be grabbing the crown of the tooth, but not the root. Your root won't look like this. It'll probably be pointy. With this model, this is what it looks like. So grab the crown, don't grab the root. The reason why you don't grab the root is because there are living cells on the outside of the root, and if you go and grab that, you can damage them, and you want those cells to be alive when you put the tooth back into the socket. If it's not too painful and the tooth is not too dirty, you can put it right back into the socket with firm pressure, but don't try to force it in. Gentle finger pressure. If you're unable to reinsert the tooth, then you have to put in some sort of storage. The best storage is something called Hank's Balanced Solution. Unless you are in a chemistry lab or you happen to have a bottle of this buffering solution with all sorts of minerals in it, you probably go with plan B, which is cow's milk. In cow's milk, it's pH balanced. It's going to have some minerals in there. It's going to have some oxygen in there, and that helps keep those cells on that root alive. Put it in that for storage and bring it to the dentist along with your mouth. If the tooth is dirty, you can rinse off with cow's milk. Don't use cow's milk that has chocolate or flavoring in it. Just use regular cow's milk. It doesn't matter if it's whole, 1%, 2%, 4%. Any of those is going to work. So make sure it's cow's milk. It has the pH and it has the minerals in it, and it has some oxygen in it that helps keep those cells alive on the root. If you don't have milk available, if you have sterile saline available, store it in that. The next thing is if you don't have saline available, you can store it in your mouth. Don't store it in plain water. The plain water can damage those cells on the root, and it's less likely that the tooth will survive. You have about 60 minutes between the tooth coming out and getting to that point where getting the tooth back in the socket is less likely to stay and be permanent. So if you can replace the tooth, do a little rinse in cow's milk. If it's dirty, if it's pretty clean, you can put it right back in with finger pressure. If you have too much pain or it's a little bit too bloody to get in there and put it in yourself, store it in cow's milk, bring it to your dental office as quick as you can, give them a call before you show up at the door so that they can have everything ready, and he or she can help you put it back in the socket. Chances are when you get to the dental office, the dentist, he or she will get you numb so you're not feeling anything and very gently replace the tooth into the mouth. When they replace the tooth into the mouth, they might put a band on there to help stabilize it and keep it steady. If the tooth has been out of the mouth, you will need to have a root canal on it. It probably won't happen the same day that it goes in, but in about a week's time after it's been reimplanted, you will have to have a root canal on it. And the reason for the root canal is that the blood supply has been cut off to the center of the tooth, and those center of the teeth cells are not going to live. And so that's what the root canal is doing, is taking away any of that dead or dying tissue inside the tooth. But the storage of the tooth between getting it knocked out and getting to the dental office is important, because for the tooth to be reimplanted, it needs to have those living cells on the surface of the root. And if they're not viable, chances are the tooth will not reimplant and stay. On the other end of things, if the tooth is out and it can't be put back in, if you are missing a tooth, don't panic. There are options to replace teeth that look very natural, they're very strong, and their longevity is very good. Now, one thing to add, if this is a baby tooth, the protocol is different than an adult tooth. If you are older than 6 or 7 years old, chances are that is an adult tooth that came out. And it's especially the front teeth that do get damaged, that do get knocked out. And the reason there is it's closest to the front and it's more likely to be struck than a back tooth. So if it's a baby tooth, you leave it out. I would still put it in milk, store it in that medium, store it in milk, bring it to the dentist and have him or her check it out just to confirm that's a baby tooth or that's an adult tooth. Sometimes if it's a young adult tooth, the root is not fully developed and it may look different than a fully developed adult tooth. It may kind of look like a baby tooth that you've put under the pillow in the past. Just to be safe, take the tooth, put in your cow's milk, bring it to your dental office, have it checked out. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. And remember, don't panic. And always remember your towel. If you know that reference, good for you.